Thank you so much. I honestly feel like I'm at home with all of you. And first of all, I'd really like to thank Mary Hartnett for getting this event even thought of. We started with a collaborative concept, and that was a few years ago. And all of a sudden, we were meeting one day, and Anna said, well, we're going to have to do it. And so from Mary Hartnett and her idea of collaboration among agencies and across the state, to Anna being able to pull it off. Thank you so much, and we're really grateful to the two of you. This is really, and it's just like running and being at the teacher training program. You really never do anything alone, and everybody you work with, you work as a team, and you really, it wouldn't be anything without you. So at this moment, I'd just like to ask how many of you, if you raise your hand, how many of you graduated from the University of Minnesota? All right, very good. Now, how many of you did not graduate from the University of Minnesota? Okay, we are going to make you honorary U of M alumni today. So enjoy. We love to have more Gophers. Just come on in, Gophers. And so we'd love to have you on board. The other person I would like to thank is Mark Marshark for coming today. It's really unusual that we can get a hold of him, and we're looking forward to his presentation tomorrow. He's just a wonderful and very, very in-demand person. So thank you, Mark, for coming and joining us today. This is great. I'm going to keep my remarks fairly simple. I've been in the field of deaf education for 50 years. And my first job was at St. John's School for the Deaf. I walked in there as a speech-language pathologist. There wasn't a sign language book to be found at that time. The Joy of Signing by Lottie Rykoff was just coming out. There was no registry of interpreters for the deaf, and there wasn't a sign language class to be had. So the kids taught me how to sign. Of course, all of education at that time was oral. Was auditory oral. And the kids signed on the playground and in the dormitories, and some of the high school kids signed. So we started communicating. The kids taught me how to sign, and I had very, very homemade signs, very much of the homemade signs. But I was at St. John's for several years and went to Gallaudet in between. I wound up in a classroom because one of the teachers lost her vision from detached retinas overnight. And they said, gosh, we can't afford to have you teach speech. You'll have to go into the classroom right now. And I instantly wound up in a classroom. There weren't teachers of the deaf available. I had no training. I was a speech-language pathologist. Kids were teaching me how to sign. I think I had to give them my paycheck the first couple years I was there, and had an absolutely marvelous experience. The last thing in the world I thought I would do in my life was be a teacher. And that first year was like, go get them, guys. And I've never stopped loving every minute of teaching since then. So instead of talking to you tonight about, as you see that little thing, about reflections of the past, I'd really like to talk to you about reflections for the future, and really talk to you about the top 10 things on the list. In the field of deaf education, let's see if I can make this go forward. Whoops, right, here we go. In the field of deaf education, we have really been, in the field of special education rather, deaf education has been a leader. In the past, it was one of the first fields to be developed in special education. Special education was not even thought of, and deaf education was there. We were the first specialized field ever to be identified in special ed. And it has been continuous. The Journal of the American Annals for the Deaf and the Convention of American Instructors for the Deaf, now called Conference of American Instructors for the Deaf, CAID, is the oldest professional organization in the United States, which is amazing. You're part of that. You're part of the past, and you're very much a part of the future. We have come a long way. Actually, Joyce and I were having lunch one day, and we were talking about events that were happening in the field. And Joyce said, gosh, I wonder if things ever change. We keep saying the same thing over and over. And then we started reflecting, both of us started reflecting of the days gone by. And all I could think of, it was this photograph that's up on the screen of the early days. This was an anniversary in 1917 from Clark's School for the Deaf. That was the tribute to the senses and how we have to train the senses. And that's in 1917. That was a 50-year anniversary of Clark's School for the Deaf. I mean, we've been here a long time, and we've changed considerably, I hope, anyway. And so some of those changes have come through my top 10. Number one, innovations. We have been extremely active in innovative practices. We've had the art of teaching, and we've had the science of teaching. We haven't always communicated it effectively, but all of us have been working with both the art and the science of teaching. And that's terribly important. We can't forget either one. We have to include both the science and the art. You can't forget one side in lieu of the other. The second piece is the issue of disability versus a culture. We've argued, we've walked the thin line, but somehow we survive in respecting both. Disability always gives us an advantage in the legislature, right? We don't want to be called disabled, but by God, it gives us a couple extra bucks to work in, you know? There's a lot more funding for deaf education than there is for second language learners. There's a lot more funding in special education than if we talk about cultural differences. So we walk that very thin line between having a respect for the culture of deafness and also the disability of deafness from other perspectives. With the recognition that we're working with a lot of children who have disabilities, significant disabilities, learning disabilities, autism. As teachers, we have our increase of Deaf Plus in the last few years has been incredible. So in the future, we have to prepare ourselves to work with those children who have additional disabilities and not forget the Deaf Plus who are gifted and talented. We can't forget those who are really above the average, the margins. So we have to be all-inclusive in our preparation, in our thought process, and in our teaching. The third item is adaptations. We're constantly required to provide adaptations in our teaching because of legal issues, because of our supervisors, and the adaptations that are needed for our students. Accommodations are critically important, and a cure. Everybody's looking for the cure. The cure has come around as cochlear implants. Now we have brain stem implants. I mean, that future is coming at us at a very, very rapid rate. The cures that I'm most grateful for are German measles, that we don't have German measles facing us on a daily basis. Scarlet fever, spinal meningitis. When I started in the classroom, my classroom was filled with kids from that were deafened by German measles, multiple disabilities. And we don't face that anymore. We have other challenges, but there has been and I'll put that in very big quotes because nothing is ever cured, it keeps coming back. But we have to think of that cure not as curing deafness, but curing some of the things that have caused deafness and and other disabilities. Number 9 on the top 10 list are our medical and technical advances. We are learning much more about the brain. The Visual Learning Center at Gallaudet, VL2 Center, has been doing some very impressive work. Not all of their studies are out, but we need to look at a lot of the studies that are coming out on visual learning and the integration of visual and auditory learning. Some of the work that's being done at NTID on multiple attention pieces, split attention, having to watch an interpreter and a visual information slants, and be able to watch everybody moving around the room. What's important? In the future, we're going to have to watch those items and that research with much greater care. The other day, I thought this was very humorous. I picked up a magazine from one of my nieces who's really into the health thing. You know, she's into all the good foods and exercise. Obviously, I'm not, but she is into all the exercise and good foods. And there at the top of the page was the foods that are best for your hearing. Yeah. Now that's something for the future. I never knew there was foods that were best for my hearing, but there it is. So there's some things that are available. Number 8, professional preparedness. We can never be ready enough, and we never stop learning. The University of Minnesota has had a very, very proud history of graduates. And I've been most fortunate to be able to work in a department, in an environment that has been so fortunate, and to be able to work with students who are so gifted and talented. These are just a few of the talented individuals that we've been working with. And this class, particular class, you'll see one PhD student graduating, that's Sean Vernig, and a few others in there. That class had 50% deaf students in that particular graduating class. You will find many of our graduates, of our current students, wandering around. They're volunteers today, and you'll see them right at the end of this session. And also when you get onto your cell phones and Flipgrid, which I'll talk about in a little bit, you'll see their faces and meet them. So we have an up-and-coming graduate student body that promises to be stellar in the future, and we're looking forward to seeing them take over the reins as our population of teachers moves towards retirement with me. We see that. Number 7, technology. Technology has hit us at such a rapid rate, but it's always been that way in the field of deaf education. Deaf education, we're among the first to use overhead projectors. My second year of teaching, every teacher in the United States was issued an overhead projector. You know, we kind of carried them down the hall with us. It's amazing. And the film that you used was so expensive that we used to go over to the hospitals and get the old X-ray films, clean them up in the sink with bleach, and then use them on our overhead projectors. So all the silver from that X-ray thing went down the drain. I didn't know it was that valuable until years later. I don't know what we did to the fish population at the time. We had no idea that it was that bad. You have to remember that this is when you could still smoke in school, you know. The teacher's lounge, you know. It was really bad. It was a long time ago. So technology has come a long way, and I've always been very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. I am the least tech person in the world, and so techie people would search me out because if I could do it, anybody can do it, you know. So I was fortunate enough to be identified, plus I was the only lay teacher in an all-nun school, you know. I know I was never a nun, believe me. But I worked with all the nuns around me, and so the University of Illinois came in with their with a language system on a mainframe computer, and I wound up with that huge computer in my classroom, and kids were typing on these gigantic computers to do some programmed instruction. We had Project Life, programmed learning, which later became a very, very popular teaching tool actually it was the 3M Writing to Read program. The prior to the 3M Writing to Read program, it was a film strip in the classrooms with deaf kids called Project Life, and it was programmed instruction. As we moved into computerized and portable, more desktop computers, I was fortunate enough to work with Manjula Waldron, who is a biomedical engineer at Ohio State. Manjula Waldron, W-A-L-D-R-O-N, who had a deaf son who was very, very gifted. And Manjula really wanted to facilitate communication, so she developed a real-time communication device where we used the old laptop or Mac computers, the first Mac computers, and you could communicate in real time, and the teacher could communicate with a student or a student to a student. I brought that up here my first year in 1983 when I came to the University of Minnesota. And we used it with the teachers in Wisconsin communicating with our graduate students at the University of Minnesota. And we used little rebuses to be able to facilitate language instruction. Now it's, unheard of. So we've had a great time, and it only promises to be more challenging, more interesting, and more facilitating. But it's going to take innovation. It's going to take recognizing the accommodations that work. It's going to take you thinking about the possibilities. The Google glasses, who knows what we can do with those? It reminds me of Cornett when he was working on cued speech. He really wasn't working on cued speech. He was working on glasses that had little light-ups for phonemes around. And the phonemes, he was trying to teach deaf people to decode those little lights so they could understand spoken language just by wearing glasses. Well, Google glasses are somewhat the same. Alex Zebold, who will be here teaching ASL, came to me the other day and he said, wouldn't it be something if you could take Google glasses and it would provide real-time captioning right at the top? Wouldn't that be amazing? And there's no limits to what we can do, but it's going to take you to let the tech people know what you need. It needs to come from you. You need to be the innovators. You need to be the ones who make things happen. Number 6 is communication access. You've heard me talk about this, and I don't need to talk about this. We need to look for innovative ways of making communication work for us, not spend our time arguing about it. Is it auditory, oral? Is it signing? My God, we've been doing that for 100 years, And it's time that we move beyond that. When I came here, there were people who would stand up in meetings. I used to hear about the arguments that would go on between St. Paul and Minneapolis. Minneapolis was oral, St. Paul was signing. And there were these huge arguments across the river to the detriment of the students. We spent more time talking about our beliefs than focusing on students. We have to refocus our efforts in the future, keep our eye on the ball, and think of the students. What are their needs individually? There isn't one right answer. There's only one right way to go with each student. Effective instruction. It's not going to happen talking about it. It only happens if you do it. We can talk about models, we can talk about strategies, but they have to be implemented. Effective instruction includes being very explicit about what you're doing. I know that there are nights and days when I walked into that classroom and I was hungover. I was tired as anything. I was totally unprepared for class. I had a darn good time. And by God, it was the worst day in the classroom. It was a day for me, not for the kids. That was a day lost. It was a day lost. And our kids can't afford a day lost. I didn't realize that until I got a lot older. Our kids, some of our kids come to school, and we're the only people who can communicate with them. We're the only ones who can really explain things. We're the only ones giving them time. And we're the only ones who can support them. So every day that I had a bad day teaching was a day lost for the students. In the future, we have to plan ahead. If you're going out the night before, make up your plans the night before so you're ready to go and have something good to do. Intensive instruction is important. Plenty of positive reinforcement. If you don't know how to do it, come back to school and get some classroom management strategies. Classroom management strategies that include positive reinforcement for various cultures in your room, for various segments of the population, for kids who have disabilities and those kids who are gifted. We also need positive reinforcement for our supervisors because they don't understand us, you know. Most of the time, our special ed directors don't know us, unless they're special ed directors who come from the field of deafness. Most of them don't know what we do. We look like everybody else. You know, they really don't know that we have a role, that we teach something that's very, very important, and that's children. And that our content is the most important thing that every child faces. Language. The heart of our teaching is language. Very different than any other student in special education. The fourth top 10 list is data, data, data. I know you've heard me say this 1,000 times, especially if you're in my class, to the point where you're sick of it. But pick up your cell phone. By God, every app you have has data in it. All of a sudden, this little thing came up on my new cell phone that says health. I click it on, and it's how many steps I took, how many flights of stairs I walked, graphs all over the place. It's data. It's data about me. You go to Weight Watchers, and you've heard me say this 100 times, and it's data. They map out your weight. It's calories. Data is what makes our profession accountable. It makes us exist. Without data, we will not be here. We will be folded into the new ABS license. There will be ABS teachers providing services to our hard of hearing students if we don't provide the data that shows that we make a difference, that what's special about our field is different than the ABS teacher. So we're making a difference, but we have to show them. It's important to assess and reflect. Use your assessment strategies with your students. Make them functional. We have to go beyond the academic assessments. We have to look at that daily functioning of the students. Assess where the students are at. When they graduate from high school, what are they going to do? That starts in preschool. We have to assess where the students are at and reflect about their future and work with the students as we go along. And I say this more often than not, and I can't say it loud more distinctively than language. We're not talking about language arts. We're not talking about capitalization and punctuation and simply a structure, but we're talking about language that has meaning, language that communicates, language that gives people power. Language gives us the right to reject, to accept, to control, and that's what we need to teach. That's what our curriculum needs to look at. Language that is functional, that gives students power over their own lives. That's what deaf education is all about. It's taken me 50 years to figure that out. And we're getting better at it. But you're the future. You're the people who need to carry it on. You're the ones who are going to take it to the next step. And the last is love what you do. Expand your horizons. Include other things in your life so you learn and bring those back to the classroom. Never stop expanding your horizons. There's always something else out there. Collaborate. Work with others. And I can't thank our collaborators here, Anna, Joyce, and my best friend, and I won't cry, Pat McAnally, who isn't here. But all our other collaborators who taught at the University of Minnesota. We've had such a great group. And I have to thank every one of you who have served as a cooperating teacher. All of you have contributed to the University of Minnesota in very significant ways. And thanks to all of you graduates. You're just super, you make us proud, and the most important thing is that it impacts kids. What you're doing has a future in every child that you work with. Our U of M alumni never had a chance to do the loss of the senses dances. But we've grown above and beyond, and we've found new ways. The future is in you. I had a whole bunch of pictures that were actually at the bar in Faribault, and another one at the bar in at 421 Cafe. And I didn't want to bring out the family album, and start showing. But most of you are in those, so you'll see yourselves at some point in time. This is a great group of people I've worked with. I've had the opportunity to really enjoy, and we'll see you in the future, I'm sure. The most important thing is that our teachers do a lot of things beyond just teach, but every one of us have brought a lot of our information back. We don't get paid a lot. Some of the teachers have wandered away, and they keep coming back. If you don't know, Anna actually got a certificate to do the notary public. So she was getting a whole new career as a notary. So here's Joyce kind of taking advantage of that notary system and working with Anna and building her pieces. Elizabeth Clarity in the middle is a volunteer in Africa. She's been in several different countries as a teacher of the deaf, and has gone over probably about 4 or 5 years. Lauren Schultz, Lauren McCoy Schultz. Whoops, that tells me I have to stop, and I'm almost there. Lauren Schultz, or McCoy Schultz, if some of you remember her, she was teaching deaf and hard of hearing kids in Milwaukee for several years. She started the Purple Door ice cream shop in Milwaukee with her husband. It's a great business. It's going great guns, and she has a whole factory of deaf students who are working with her as part-time students. Some are full-time. The person who's managing her store is deaf. That's on the east side of Milwaukee. So she's carried her deaf education into a transition program. And then we have winners. We have gold medal winners. This was the Goldie Gopher run this last Saturday. And here's our 4 teachers of the deaf, our Goldie Gopher alum who bleed maroon and gold, by the way. So we want to thank all of them. And what I'd like to have you do at this time, I'm going to ask our graduate students, our current graduate students, to go and grab a pack of cards from the back and give each one of you, or you can grab them from the table as we go, but there is an announcement that's coming that will be made about housekeeping. But what I'd like you to do when you have an opportunity is get on your computer or your cell phone or your iPad. You have to download the Flipgrid app if you're using your cell phone, or it's free, or the cell phone or the iPad. And put your photo on and introduce yourself. It's a video app where you can sign your name or say your name. Introduce yourself. There's a question there that says, hi, tell us about yourself. So you get to know everybody at the conference, trying to build some collaboration. You'll see some people who are on there already. All of our students on there now are on there now. Introduce themselves, you get to know them. So it can do this anytime. On the other side of the card is our Avenue PM. That's going to be for our presentation tomorrow. So don't worry about it. You can take this with you. And I do want to mention a very special person in the audience, and that's Doobie. Doobie has been our mainstay at these deaf and hard of hearing conferences. How many of you have never been to a DHH state conference? How many, raise your hand, how many of you have never been to a DHH deaf conference? It's been 5 years. I know, everybody who raised their hand is young. It's really young. Welcome, and I hope we can do this again in the future. Housekeeping, thank you very much. We'll see you later.